Good morning from Yami BTV. Wishing you all well. Sending loads of love to you all on a better morning, I think, coming down here. Just to keep up on the latest. The last 2 days, I got the lurgies. I know you should have warned me that when you're clean, you're open to more. Oh, God. Me, other office, just messaging there. You're open to catching more. I think I caught it in the office. So I got a sore throat, the phlegm's come up, and I got a banging headache. But hey, that's not going to stop me. And before I start this, because I wanted to go live tonight, and I'm going on Ricky Keeling's show as well. Hopefully, I want it to be tonight, but I don't think I'm going to be quite ready. So we'll go straight into it this morning, and special loves. And what a wonderful day for my old mate Bungle and his lovely wife Keely. I think it's 10 years anniversary day today. I hope I get a chance to say that with somebody in later life, Keely and Bungle. But loads of love to you all. Right, we get round to the heavy stuff. I know I promised you this one for quite some time, and it's Boxer John Onyemaechi, right? Rest in peace, my boy. Versus Dominic Noonan. But before we go into that, there's other bits that you don't know about the great Boxer John, right? Boxer John, it's fair to say, for all his ways and his behaviour, right, during some times, because he never spoke to anyone a lot, right? But the ones he did, if you think about Dave Almani, he always used to kind of respect Dave Almani, right? He loved Jay Draper. He loved Russell McVicar. So he's got particular types that he looks for, and he will go out of his way to protect in some kind of way, or show a bit of love that he didn't really show often. Now, during this period, the Dominic Noonan fight was the sentence before he got the life sentence. So it would have been in his younger days, but there was a build-up. I've got to go through a build-up on the current sentence where he sadly lost his life, Boxer John. And he had problems. He always seemed to have problems with a lot of people, John. Even when he used to play chess with people, he used to sit there. Some obviously he acknowledged, like Russell McVicar and maybe a couple of others, but others he'd be playing them and he would be looking straight through them. There'd be no acknowledgement, no hello. He'll see them on the landing after playing them in chess and he'll walk straight past them. He didn't like losing at chess. There was an incident once where a game was really close and he hit somebody on the chair hit somebody with a chair during the game, right? But there was other things going on at this time. There was a well-known scouser and a couple of other geezers tried to get him into the recess. Now, Boxer John wasn't silly. Just because he had that physical prowess, and it's worth mentioning that Boxer John's never actually really lost a one-on-one fight. It always seems that when he's fighting, there's more than one man, to be honest, right? So they tried to get him into the recess. He wouldn't go. He was playing, all right, I'll catch you another time kind of thing. Instead of getting him in the recess, they couldn't get him, so they tried to get him on the walkway. Two of them came to him, silly move to make. They both got put on the deck, and then the other one took his chance to try and stab him, but he got disarmed, and he got done as well, right? There was a geezer from Wigan, not leggy, right? Let's get that clear. But there was a massive geezer. He could have a serious row as well. But he was weary of Boxer John, like all the big geezers were, because the reality was, unless you was going in there to kill him, the likelihood is you might not win, and he can take blows as well, Boxer John, and he's a die-hard, and he's going to keep coming forward, and he didn't believe in defeat, as seen with the sad ending with 100 riot screws, right? So those that don't know, we'll get to that bit at the end. But the other geezer from up north, they kept having eye contact, and Boxer John would be one of those who'd stare at you over the landing and just keep looking and fiddle with his, swing his nightgown thing around or fiddle around in his pockets, but he'd be looking at you, but he wasn't afraid of anyone. Now, this geezer used to come try and, John, he tried to, but you're just showing weakness, really, by coming up to him, because John's going to be able to feel that you're trying to be friendly with him when really he's not really feeling you that way. So he comes up to John and says, let me show you a couple moves wrestle-wise. He knew that he wouldn't win a fisticuff, right? And this geezer can have a row, mate, right? I think some of you know who I might be talking about. But he tried to do some wrestling move on John, but John was just standing up there static, and he couldn't really move him. You know what I mean? He wasn't really playing John. He just stands still. The standing still can be deafening silent sometimes, right? And he was always, Boxer John, he was weary about weapons, mate. He was weird about weapons. He could use a weapon, that kind of stuff, like you saw with me, the incident with me. He could have smashed me to smithereens. But where he was debating, I think he had a soft spot for me. So we don't need to go into that, right? He knew that I had weapons. He knew that it was going to be that kind of thing. But again, during this time, like Boxer John was in the Brotherhood as well, the Muslim Brotherhood, but he was falling out with everyone there as well, and he fell out with a good geezer, a good brother. He broke his jaw. They put him down a block. Again, he used to live down that block sometimes, Boxer John. They never had it on camera. They let him back up, and then everybody pieced it with the geezer, the brother, on the yard. They shook hands and kind of thing, and John said sorry, and that was a familiar tale with John. When he was wrong, though, he was always quick to come and say sorry, but sometimes it's a bit too late. Now, there always comes a time, right, where I'm just saying, right, I'll be lying on my bed and I'll be thinking about Dominic Noonan, Boxer John. Now, it's a familiar tale with me during those stages. Like, I think if two figures met, it's going to go off. You just know by personalities and characters how they all think and what it looks like and what it feels like. Lo and behold, right, when in his younger days, this is before the life sentence that he got, where he died, they set eyes on each other. Now, I knew straight away, right? That I was having a quiet smirk. Boxer John's looking at Dominic Noonan. Dominic Noonan's got his glasses on and he's looking at the corner of his eye. But I could read John. Don't think that Boxer John wasn't intelligent, that he couldn't read and he didn't know who Dominic Noonan was. So he would have booked him with that information already, or someone would have pulled his card and said, yeah, that's Dominic Noonan. Because he had friends like that who would mark his card as well. So, Boxer John's looking at Dominic Noonan like to say, I know what you're about. I don't like you. And Dominic Noonan's looking at him. Dominic Noonan, I wouldn't say he would have fancied Boxer John. I think he'd have been looking at him like to say, I know you think you're going to come and try and bully me and try and have a fight with me, but you're going to get a fight back. Dominic Noonan can have a little row, mate. For all what's said and all that, Dominic Noonan's not going to take a backward step from anyone, is it? He's come on, you lot. He ain't. He's still going to have a go, Dominic Noonan, and he can use his hands and he can take a blow in that. So you picture the thing with Boxer John looking at him and Dominic Noonan looking at him, and then bang, it goes off. During that time, Boxer John ain't as big as he was when he got the life sentence. Not that it really mattered. It felt to me, Boxer John, maybe it could be that when he's fighting smaller men, there's a few difficulties because he's throwing a few punches, but they're not landing cleanly. It gets in Dominic Noonan's like a Jack Russell. He's getting in close, he's wrestling, all that rubbing up and hugging up and swaying this way. John's swinging him that way and this way, but he still can't get rid of him. And then they part for a little bit. A few people are watching. Dominic Noonan throws a haymaker with his head down, but it lands on the top of Boxer John's head, and he looks a little bit dazed. But then Boxer John gets him again. It ends up in a tussle. It isn't going anywhere, this fight. He can't get rid of Dominic Noonan. Now, I clarified today that fight happened. And many people say Dominic Noonan did well that day, right? So we've got to be fair on Onyemaechi TV. But he didn't win. He didn't win. But I can't say nobody win. But if anything, Dominic Noonan gave Boxer John more of a round than most people, if you get what I mean. It's worth mentioning that. Two heads at the same time. Boxer John detested certain people, mate. Dominic Noonan knows that there's going to be psychopaths around. He knows they're not going to take to what they've heard or his ways or so-called ways and that kind of stuff. But like I always tell you, for everyone, for all that talk that's been talked about with this bit and that bit, Dominic Noonan wouldn't be taking a backward step. So good morning to you. I hope I get rid of, I've got the Lemsip here. I hope I get rid of that as well. I tried to do that as best as I could. Did I forget anything else with Boxer John? Those are the bits that you didn't know. But sending loads of love to you. See you soon.